Well, tomorrow, the UN's top court holds historic hearings into the legality of Israel's 57-year occupation of the West Bank, land sought for a Palestinian state. Today in Gaza, there was new bloodshed and misery. CBS's Holly Williams is in Tel Aviv and has more. A warning, some of the images are graphic.
At Al-Aqsa Hospital, the race to save lives never stops. In Gaza, the bloodshed knows no age limits. Israel has vowed to press ahead with a ground offensive in the city of Rafah, where around 1.5 million Palestinians are now living. Most of them displaced and exhausted, many of them hungry. This young girl says she came to Rafah after Israeli tanks fired on a school where she was sheltering. Israel says it'll allow civilians to leave the battle zone, but the US is warning against an assault without a credible plan to protect civilians.
And now they're packed into Rafah, exposed and vulnerable. They need to be protected.
The US is also pushing for a ceasefire, though negotiations seem to be stuck, with Israel calling Hamas's demands delusional. And while the US is still hoping for a two-state solution, finally giving Palestinians their own state in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said today that his country, quote, rejects international dictates regarding an accord with the Palestinians. Some of Israel's allies, including the US, appear to be growing frustrated with its intransigence. And domestically, Prime Minister Netanyahu is under intense pressure. Last night in Israel, what looked like the biggest anti-government protests since the war began, calling for Netanyahu to resign. Many here are angry at security failures on October 7th and his handling of the war. If Israel does go ahead with an offensive in Rafah, despite mounting international criticism, it's these people who'll suffer, including children who've already lost their innocence. I've seen a father hold his daughter's hand while her body was cut to pieces, says this 15-year-old girl. I've seen a woman killed by a sniper. In this war, we've seen things that nobody could imagine.
The World Health Organization says that Nasser Hospital, the biggest medical facility in southern Gaza, is no longer functioning after it was raided by Israeli special forces this past week. But Sharika, Israel's military, says it's doing everything it can to make sure the hospital stays operational.
Holly Williams, thank you for your reporting in Tel Aviv.